There was a renaissance starting in about 1500 in Europe that was unseating the Catholic Church's power and the nobility's power, who ran monopolies and wouldn't let anybody basically be a cobbler who made shoes or anything else seen as industrial unless you were given a certification license by the nobility. And that caused the Dark Ages because they didn't want any competition. The Dark Ages from about 410 all the way up till about 1500, more than 1,000 years. You can also call it the Middle Ages, a shorter period in there. And if you understand this, you understand the entire system of the battle in the West for the future. The Roman Empire falls. Later, the Byzantine Empire falls to the Muslims in Constantinople. Rome almost falls in the 800s. There are crusades out of France and England led by the Norse, the Vikings, who had conquered England and France. The Norse, who also founded Russia, crush the invaders in 6 different major invasions, killing millions on both sides, almost depopulating the Middle East and areas of Europe. A death battle. By the 1400s, people are sick of the tyranny of the monopolies of the nobility and the church, and they begin to use what's left of ancient masonry and ancient pre-Christian secret societies that I would not call satanic. Definitely occultic and hidden. To try to form a system to challenge the establishment and bring in a new enlightenment. They team up with the Rosicrucians, an ancient Christian sect predating Roman Catholicism and the Orthodox Church both. But they were mystics. Those groups merge, and from the middle of the 1400s to the 1760s, they had overthrown the real power of the monarchies, had started the Reformation, and had driven a tyrannical form of Catholicism out of much of Europe. Incredible prosperity was booming. Monopolies were being broken. Power of the people under different acts like Magna Carta expanding through were empowering the people. Comparatively, none of it was perfect. Both sides had problems. Both sides began to infiltrate each other. I'm going to skip this network break. This is so important. Christians and Masons that actually followed Christ by that point, Christian Masons, launched their operations in the colonies and believed they were finally going to have a truly free country to empower humanity. And the goal was to end slavery, empower women. It had to be done in phases. They launched the entire operation that was Francis Bacon's plan, the New Atlantis. They defeat the British Empire that no one had ever stopped. Working with the French that had launched their own plan. The problem was the German Illuminati, led by Adam Weishaupt, a Jesuit, had launched a counter-revolution secretly in the 1760s. And when he saw the 1776 revolution launched, he went operational with their counterfeit 1776. I know this from George Washington. He wrote a bunch of letters on it, but it's also in the histories. So you got George Washington in the West battling the head of the Illuminati, a Satanist, in the East. Classic battle. And they killed him. They poisoned him. They bled him to death. He was poisoned. They came in. They bled him to death. They killed George Washington. He was getting ready to come back into politics and face them. They killed him. And so there's been a battle between the German, and they're not German, but it's German-based, Bavarian Illuminati and the Western New Atlantis Renaissance group, which is the real Illuminati. They never called themselves that. They said, we're the Enlightenment. So the Illuminati said, oh, we're the light. They launch their counterfeit populist operation. They come in and they infiltrate. You can read Weissaup's writings because one of his letter couriers got struck down with a big manual. They had copies of it to be given to other members in France. He got struck by lightning. This is an Encyclopedia Britannica, by the way. This is not my opinion. He got struck down. And again, I'm an expert on this. Discovery Channel, History Channel, interview me. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. I know the stuff 33rd degree Masons know, okay? And I learned it from research and historical information. It's all hidden right there. And so what happened is this group branded itself, and Weishaupt said, we'll take over the hunting societies and lodges for men that like to hunt, like the company of, guys sitting around drinking beer, the deer hunters. We will take over the reading societies and the literature societies and the music societies, and then we will take over the sexual secret societies, because a lot of folks wanted to be able to have sex with more than one person, or maybe they were gay or whatever, so there were sexual secret societies. And he said, we'll claim that we support all of these and that we're the original progenitors of these, and we'll claim that we're the Rosicrucians and the Christians and the Merovingians and all of it. And then our plan is total dominance and control to get rid of the church and to get rid of Christianity and get rid of the Muslims as well, and set ourselves up as absolute Luciferians over the world movement taking place in Europe and the colonies after 200-plus years of the building Renaissance that was unseating the Catholic Church and its monopolies, as well as royalty across Europe, as well as England and Scotland. A Jesuit by training, Professor Adam Weishaupt at Ingolstadt University, then developed his own counter-populist movement that was not meant to overthrow the monarchies or overthrow the church, but to actually overthrow the Renaissance in the name of overthrowing the royalty and the church, to then establish a total world dictatorship that was Luciferian in nature. George Washington, in his famous letters against the Illuminati, points all of this out and says that the French Revolution is super bad news and is meant to create total tyranny and that needs to be resisted. So, simply put, it is a false political populist movement designed to basically say all the right things, come in and take over the Renaissance, take over civilization and society, and establish tyranny. When the police raided the Illuminati after one of their letter carriers was struck by lightning and they found whole dossiers going to France and other countries and Italy on how to run these operations, the Illuminati was broken up in Germany for a time. It moved in 1832 to Yale with the Russell Trust, giving it millions of dollars to establish the organization at Yale and to try to take the United States over. Skull and Bones was founded. Skull and Bones took over a popular hunting lodge north of San Francisco that Mark Twain was a part of. They kicked them out close to 1900. And Howard Taft and others that were members of Skull and Bones went to Bohemian Grove and set it up as a party palace to induct other powerful men and robber barons and royalty to get them to join their death cult. It has since set up satellite organizations across the United States, and they now admit in the Washington Post that it was a satellite organization set up in the 60s, reviving a particular order, a hunting order that was a front then as well, with Scalia as an officer in it, and established a Bohemian Grove satellite in Texas. And as we've told you, there are other satellites around the country. So that's what this is. That's what's happening. And when we say secret society, it means a private intelligence network. They have their own courts, their own trials, their own systems. They copy the Masons, but they are not the Masons. They have taken the Masons over in many areas because it's compartmentalized, and the porch Masons or the profane Masons don't know they're being given a different teaching than one of the more ancient Solomon-based or Egyptian-based Masonic systems. But the real system that modified this and created the Renaissance would be the ancient Christian order. Stay with us. We'll be back. Conservatism, you could say, would be George Washington, very traditionalist, but Americana. And then you've got super extreme, wild freedom with Jefferson, who was the head of the Illuminati for a while, helped launch the French Revolution, barely got out of France. They wanted to kill him. He said, whoa, Washington's right. This is really bad. So that's a lot, big, complex, long history there. And you're going, the Illuminati? Jefferson was good? He's the real Illuminati, folks, not the fake Illuminati. It's all in Washington's writings if you want to read it. Somebody's got to make a movie or write a book about this, because this is all in the history books, but no one even knows it. It just means illuminated. It's like if, you know, the rock band Rush is talking about illumination, wide-eyed fascination with the universe, not wanting to be a jerk, not wanting to be evil, wanting to share knowledge, be illuminated. The globalists are the opposite. In the kingdom of the one-eyed man, in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Well, this is the kingdom of the one-eyed man. They want the only knowledge, the only light. You don't get it. That's the false Illuminati. They call themselves the Illuminati. It was just the Enlightenment. It just means the Enlightenment, and it came out of Christianity. It came out of the Reformation. It came out of a lot of things. It came out of the Black Plague that killed about 40% of the population, mainly in the cities, wiped out the elites, wiped out the feudalism that had top-down control. So there's a lot of things that gave us the Renaissance and the Gutenberg press and everything of 500 years ago. And there's been a fight between the forces of control and the forces of enlightenment since then. And the forces of control launched their own counter-enlightenment that was the extreme Illuminati, based on sex operations, devil worship, really what they saw as cutting-edge stuff they could get the royalty and the general elites into, because it wasn't kosher to go have sex orgies and do stuff like that. So it was kind of like, oh, really? You're going to have an enlightenment over in America? And you're going to have a Christian enlightenment? We're going to have one with hot chicks and, you know, devil parties. And so that's all it was a financed attempt to take down our real operation. Now, continuing, I say our real operation is my family on both sides, all over the place, right back to the start of it. I'm very, very, very proud of that. Now, continuing here, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I have to probably say that I have major Masonic roots. I have never been part of a Masonic lodge. I've never taken Masonic oaths or rituals. A lot of my family, because Texas was pretty much Masonic through and through, was Masonic, high-level Masonic. And they were very, very good people. George Washington was a Mason. I have been interviewed by major TV shows on History, Discovery Channel, you name it, about my view on Masonic orders. It really is next to impossible to try to describe Masons and the Masonic orders and the different systems when I've probably read, well, I don't want to exaggerate, 20 books on it. That's not that much. And hundreds of white papers, and talked to a lot of top Masons. And I know more than most Masons do. Most Masons are porch Masons and are compartmentalized and don't know really much of anything. They know about Solomon and basically a bunch of ancient history stuff. University knowledge was very powerful. Mathematics was very powerful. It was associated with magic, with the occult, pre-Christ, pre-Abraham. So it's the old-time religion. And all it is a university study of religions, of philosophy, and of building, and of mathematics, and of agrarian systems, because they didn't just bring anybody in to teach them the knowledge of warfare, the knowledge of science, the knowledge of culture. Universities were called mystery schools going back to Egypt, basically. And so what you see as Masons today is just those schools going on, and there have been hundreds of different variants and groups and Rosicrucian orders within the Masons, and the Illuminati, founded in Germany, was a counter-Illuminati to the real Illuminati that was just called itself the Enlightenment, and then in Latin Illuminati, but it didn't call itself Sir Francis Bacon, all of that, hundreds of years before the Jesuit priest Adam Weishaupt. The modern Illuminati was a Catholic spinoff in an attempt to take over the Illuminati and the Rosicrucians. And yes, undoubtedly, my family on both sides on the Mayflower, hardcore Protestants, you could say Rosicrucians. This country was founded by real Rosicrucians, not the Rosicrucians you see out there today. And so undoubtedly, if you want to say it, I mean, I would say I come out of a classical Enlightenment family of what you would call real Illuminati, real Enlightenment. And I'll just say it here. When everybody asks me who I am, I'll tell you. There's no secret society. There's no secret messages. There's no secret handshakes. There's freedom. There's Jesus Christ. There's free market. There's family. There's strength. There's honor. There's the will to fight tyrants. That's what there is. The will to fight evil. The will to build a new civilization. Built on honor. Built on trust. Built on building up a system for all of humanity. And that secret was not a secret at all. And it made this country special despite all our evils. The will and the dream to build that new Atlantis was special and was pure. And now the globalists have hijacked the new Atlantis, and they've used it to take over the world and sell the opposite of what this country was founded on, and it tears my heart out. So it's easy for lesser men to write an article claiming I'm in some secret society and a Mason. I'm in the society of humanity. There are no secrets.